Hey everybody, hi, it's Mary Dalba. I'm here for the 12 o'clock Eastern Time takeover here um, in, uh, I think I'm live. Hello, hello, okay. Hi everybody, nice to see everyone. Um, I apologize for being a couple of minutes late. This live streaming thing is new to me. I apologize. I am so happy to be here to help out with your self care journey. So, today I am talking about journaling. I have been journaling on and off since I was young, and I'm sure some of you remember back in the day if you had a journal. You may write about stuff that was going on at school, stuff that was going on in your life, and I did that for a long time. And then, as I went on to school and kind of in my adult life, I would start and stop and start and stop, which I think a lot of us can relate to because lives get busy and things like that. But as people who are working on our own care, our self care, things we can do, journaling is actually a super easy way for self care. You can do it anywhere. You can have any kind of notebook you want to use. You can use your computer if you'd like, or your phone. And we have so many ways to record our thoughts. You can do video journaling if you decide to just speak to the screen and get your thoughts out that way. What I'm going to talk about today is how to journal through writing. So, with anything that I usually talk about or teach, please feel free to take what works for you and leave the rest. This is your journey. This is your heart centered practice. And so, please, like if I talk about journaling and you're like, ugh, I don't love that, or, um, that's not what works for me, then that's fine. Really, what I'm going to talk about is some different ways that you can look at journaling, um, using tarot cards with journaling or oracle cards. So I pulled out my mermaid deck, which I absolutely love because the graphics on them are beautiful and I love the ocean. So I also pulled out my Whispers of Lord Ganesha cards. And I mean, they're so rich and beautiful. So you can also use oracle cards. But let me just sort of start from the beginning. All right. The reason why I don't journal on my computer is I've tried to do that, or my phone, and there's something about the electronic connection there that it's not my favorite. I guess I'm old school, and I really love to touch the papers and touch the book and touch like fancy colored pens. So I have purple pens and gel pens, and I'll invest in pens and things like that. But you don't need all that. I just like books and pens, so that's like a little thing for me. But I'll just show you. So, you can always start off with a smaller, I believe this is 5.5 by 8 book. And I don't know if you can really see it, but it's got like all kinds of constellations and things on it. So I just love it. And it's just lined, very simple. I like that this book can lay flat. So I love that if I can't necessarily do it on a table and I need to do it on my lap. I love that. So I would definitely recommend looking for journals that you can fold out and that have sort of that straight spine so that you can open it up. Now, if you want to get a little more fancy, which sometimes I do, um, and because I love unicorns and I'm not ashamed to admit that, you can, go fancy. So, the purple haired, different color hair for the unicorns with their roller skates on and start. It's just, okay. So that tells you something about me, I think. Anyway, um, so with journaling, there's a few different ways you can do it. One of my favorite ways, and I actually learned this from a book called The Artist Way by Julia Cameron, and it's a book about being creative. Because when we get into our lives and do different things, the creative gets a little bit, pushed aside because we have all these things that we need to do. So her book is about how to bring back that creative spark. And one of the things she uses in the book is um, this something called morning pages. So her recommendation is you sit down with your notebook first thing in the morning. So you get up, you get your coffee, whatever you drink. I'm a tea drinker, and you sit down and you write 3 pages longhand. And I find when I do that, I don't even look at my I don't look at my phone. My phone goes off to the wayside. Um, I take my notebook. I go sit outside if it's warm here. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts. We have the four seasons here, so I definitely take advantage of that when we're in spring and summer and sometimes fall. I'll go sit outside, and just listen to the birds and the noises around me, and I just write. So really, when you think about self-care, that's giving you your time for your soul to speak. And the more that you connect with your soul and listen to your soul, the more that you feel a connection too. Yeah, Sarah, unicorn lady, I'm telling you, it's wonderful. So you want to listen to your soul more. And a lot of times we say that's through meditation. But if you think about it, if you're journaling with no, you can take music out. Sometimes I bring my little Bluetooth speaker out and I'll put on some kind of binaural beats or even something just gentle and slow. Sometimes I'll use that, but a lot of times I just like the quiet. And that's a meditative state. So when you say, well, I can't meditate, this is a way for meditation too, because you're focused on one place, you're getting your thoughts out, your eyes are open, and that is a form of some types of meditation. So this is your heart practice meditation. So think of it that way. You're writing and you're meditating at the same time. You're in a meditative state. Um, Also with journaling, I find that's really important is that you write without editing. So you're going to be really surprised at what comes out sometimes with this journaling. I know there's times that I start complaining about something. I know I don't seem like I complain, but every once in a while I start, ugh, I'm just aggravated with what happened last night. And then it turns into awareness and knowledge of maybe why I was aggravated or a past issue that's come up that I'm like, oh, I didn't see the connection. So actually journaling brings that awareness to you because you're taking the quiet time. You're deciding to just let things go and not editing or judging yourself. That's a big one too. If you write something that you're like, oh wow, that's really like, I'm saying something here that I'm acknowledging I'm feeling this, but I shouldn't be feeling that, or I shouldn't be working with that, or I shouldn't. Well, listen, we're human. And I think that if you can write it down and acknowledge it, that's the way you work through it. Our awareness is knowledge and then action. So awareness, knowledge, action. So don't be afraid to write down stuff that you're like, oh, I shouldn't be thinking like this. Maybe it's an old residual thing you have to work through. Maybe it's or maybe you write something down that's like super powerful that you're like, I didn't realize I thought like that. I didn't see that this and this connected, and boom, here I am. So that can be super powerful. It just is taking the time for you to express yourself. And that's a form of self-care. And if you struggle with expressing yourself verbally to somebody, or just even you're shy, you're nervous about going into groups and talking to people, as you express yourself on the paper, it is going to connect to expressing yourself verbally. That's going to take time and practice, but it will, because you'll be more free to say your thoughts. And sometimes, we're nervous about talking about how we feel, how we express ourselves. Well, journaling can be the first step to that. So it's a great practice to have. Um, I used to, when I did journaling with, the artist way, if I didn't get up first thing in the morning and journal, I was like, ugh, I'm shot for the day. And then I just thought to myself, listen, it's sometimes my alarm goes off and I hit snooze. I'm running out the door. Okay, I will have time at lunch and I will journal. Or I'll have time before I go to bed and I will journal. So even if you don't get your practice optimally, the practice should be done around the same time every day. And as we talk about utilizing tarot in journaling, this will be it'll make the connection. It's important, and I'm sure you all already know. We got a really advanced group here. When you set the time with your spirits, you set the time with yourself. That's like an appointment that you're looking forward to every day. But I also look at it as that's the optimal, and I love that, and we should shoot for that. We are also not perfect humans, and that's kind of cool too, because we learn from our things that we want to change. I don't want to say mistakes. So learning from that and saying, okay, well, I got it in this afternoon. I learned some things. Okay, I really like it in the morning. That's fine. So it's better to journal and it's not perfect or it's not optimal than to not journal at all and think you're shot for the day. You're not. Just journal whenever the mood hits you. There's been times in the morning I can't write more than a page. I can't write more than a half a page. I put it down and I come back to it because maybe my mind's still a little fuzzy. I'm thinking about my day, I'm distracted, whatever. Or I get interrupted. That happens every once in a while too. So I will journal later on in the day too if I need to. So don't be afraid to do that. Like if you miss your time in the morning, whenever you want to, that's fine. And some people are not early birds. Your alarm goes off. You have like, okay, I have enough time for this. I gotta go. Um, Find another time. Maybe lunchtime you go outside and you get some inspiration from where you are, or you're on the train on the way home, and you're journaling on the train, and something you hear around you could inspire you. Um, so that's about journaling. Just free flow. Some other things you can do is you can ask a question, and this sort of falls more into automatic writing, but it is a form of journaling that I like to share. If any of you read the book Conversations with God, this is a lot of what Neale Donald Walsch did, and I know there's been plenty of other authors who have done this too, but he's the first person that I think of all the time. Is you take a piece of paper and you write a question at the beginning of it. What does God need me to know today? Or, I have this problem and I would love an answer. Or, I'm really excited about this event. What would be great for me to know? Or, just what about it? And then what I usually do is I'll write that question and I'll sit for a moment, and sometimes I just ask my guides to come in and talk to me. Sometimes I ask a particular deity. You can ask for God to speak to you. That's okay. God likes to hear from you, and I'm sure that's whatever your spirit is. So if I use God or whoever, and it's not your pantheon or your religion, that's fine, or your spirituality, whatever it is. If it's an ancestor, what does my grandmother have to say to me? What does my father have to say to me? And then again, the same thing. You want to make sure that you do not edit, you do not judge, you just write. So I usually just sit and ask them to come closer. I may, offer them gratitude for being with me. Just talk to the spirits, and really they just want you to talk from the heart. And then write. And if it's 5 pages, great. If it's a page, great. Some people are more chatty than others. But what this also does for you, not only does it give you information, and I will be honest with you, there have been times that information I'm like, because maybe I know it and I didn't want to acknowledge it, or maybe it just is something I didn't think of, or it's something that's so obvious. I'm like, oh, okay. But you'll get some kind of answer, and you can work with that. And what that also does is bring you closer to your spirits, or closer to your guides, your ancestors, however you want to look at it. So if there's a particular deity that you work with, I work with Santa Muerte. I also work with Hecate. She's a Greek goddess. Ganesha is also one of my favorite friends there. I'll sit with them, and maybe I'll journal asking them a question every day. Part of that builds your relationship with them. Because if you decide that you're hoping to work with somebody, again, someone on the other side, sitting and having a conversation with them, and through journaling you do that, then that's a great way to do it. And your bond becomes closer. So it's like you're going out to coffee with a friend. You're having this conversation, and it's someone that you want to get to know better. Well, that's a way to do it. If you don't just communicate through the mind, senses, through the clairaudience, which is clear seeing, you're hearing them, maybe it's better that you journal and draw, something. Sometimes they give you sigils, sometimes they talk about different things with you. So that's a way to do it. You can have a journal just for that particular deity if you want. So that's another way to do it. Now, also for me, I like to use cards. So if you do happen to have a notebook near you and you want to try this out with me, you can. I'm going to do my, or your computer, whatever, or you can always do this later. Um, but I like these, like I mentioned, this is, I'll show you the box cover. It's called Whispers of Lord Ganesha by Angela Hartfield. The cards are absolutely beautiful. This is an oracle deck. It's not a traditional tarot, but it has his, you know, all of his different, like, he's just so cute. All of his different variations in there. So I would sit and get quiet for a moment, and then I would say to Lord Ganesha, what would you like to tell me today? Do you have anything to tell me today? And then shuffle. And, for the purposes of our exercise, we'll probably only take a minute or two to do that. But I'll just show you what I pulled out right away. So I got joy. So what does Ganesha have to say to me about joy today? And then I would take the card, I would put it in front of me. So I'm going to do that right now so that I can look at it and get inspiration from it. Take my notebook. Of course, you always want to date your entries because sometimes you'll journal something, an event, a feeling, an idea, something you need to investigate, and then having that information that you can go back to, like, oh, I this happened in July, then you can know. So I usually start by dating my page. So today is the 27/7. 21. Look at all those sevens and twos. And then I would write what, does Ganesha want me to tell me? What does Ganesha want to tell me? And then I would sit for a moment, and he said joy, and I'd write the word on the page, and then I would go. So, I'm feeling a lot of things from this, and also the other thing is when you look at the card. This is also a great intuitive method too if you're trying to read tarot cards or oracle cards. When you look at the card, see what draws you in first. Was it the mouse over here? Was it the fact that he's carrying, something? Is it his color of clothing? Is it that he's moving forward? Is it the greenery in the back? What is it about this picture? This is also great to use if you get stuck. If you're like, all right, I wrote down joy. You can it's happened, right? You can look at the photo or the card or whatever it is, and you can decide, well, I really want to, I noticed this red. I notice he's wearing red, his cape is red, there's red in his his necklaces. What is that? And then there's red down here. So what does red tell me in connection to joy? And for me, I always find red to be this just really bright and fiery and happy type of, color. I like to wear it when I'm out and about somewhere or whatever. And I really want to make an impression. I might put on red lipstick, red shirt. Oh, well, that brings me a lot of happiness and joy. Okay, and then I write. So I'm just going to take a minute out just so you have some time to practice. And if you're watching this, on a replay, you can always pause my face and go grab a notebook and do that. So I feel like I'm going to talk through it, but just, we'll just do it for a minute. So when I think about red and joy, I think about that brightness. And I also think about, and this would be if I was writing, or like, again, if you're doing video journaling, so you can try that. I need more brightness in my life, and I need to, maybe this black that I wear, I have black pants on too. Maybe that's not really helping me right today, right now. Maybe I should change out to something a different color, and that would bring me more joy. And maybe that joy will be healing to me because I want to laugh more and I want to be happier. And so I find that to be really like this thing that could springboard me. Oh, that's great. Well, I have a red necklace that I can wear. Even if I don't want to change out of the shirt, I can pull a red necklace. Oh, and I wonder, if I post something on Facebook about that, maybe we can start a discussion. So you can see it starts to loop through. And then sometimes even I've noticed that, like, I can talk about a color and then it reminds me of a color maybe an ancestor really loved, and then there's a connection with them. Like that was sort of my foot in the door to the ancestor who had a message for me. So Ganesha might have removed that obstacle for me to get to that ancestor. So that's also possible. I think the best thing is to just be free flowing. Just be free flowing. Now I'm going to also show you um, from, and if you're still writing, great. Just keep going. Ignore me. Um, you know, these are, like I mentioned, the Mermaid Tarot, which I absolutely love. I'm not sure who puts these out because the box has been long gone. Um, but Mermaid Tarot, and you can find them on, I got them off of Amazon because, right, Amazon. Um, but just these beautiful cards, like, okay, you know, I'm noticing that she's wearing a lot of sparklies and she's, again, very bright. Look at that, right? My message today is I got to get some more brightness in my life, I think. But it's Three of Wands, and so it's looking at the future. And if you know the tarot cards, you can start off with the messages that you know of them. But again, it's probably going to lead you into something else. So yeah, so she's, you know, she's out there kind of getting her thoughts out there and looking at the future and just being very sparkly and bright. So, um, and listen, it doesn't have to be, you know, this amazing, intelligent, um, philosophical type of thing. It really can be just answers for you. You don't have to share your journaling with anybody. I have journals that are in my closet. And not that I have anything to hide with that, but you know, sometimes you're talking about things and you just want them for yourself, or you just want to be able to express yourself without people saying things. So you don't have to show your journal to anybody. If it is easier for you to write online and password protect it, there's a lot of great programs out there that do that, then do that. Um, you know, if there's situations where it's just not good if you leave your journal around, then don't. I mean, like I said, you need to make this work for you. What I talk about is what works for me and some suggestions, but do what works for you. That's what's really important. Um, you can use different tarot cards every day. You cannot use tarot cards at all. You can pray or ask the spirits to come closer and just give you messages. This is, again, how you become more intuitive and how you become closer to your spirits in the spirit world, but also just to touch your soul. And if you think about it, we're always trying to listen to our soul. We see those memes on all the social media saying that, you know, um, my soul is screaming for, you know, for me to be, my soul is screaming to be heard. This is a way for your soul to be heard. Um, and I will tell you, sometimes it's a little messy. It's a little messy, but a lot of times it's breakthrough, transformational, um, healing, connectedness, but to yourself first. To yourself first, and that's what self care is all about. Is putting yourself in that space first. Um, it doesn't mean someone else gets neglected because of that. It just means that you care for yourself first, so that you can be good to everybody else. So if you want to be in service, which I'm sure a lot of you do, and I'm also that person, and that's something you can write in your journal. How can I be in service today? And that's a great question to ask in your journal. How can I be in service today? And the spirits will definitely tell you because we know that right now, if we're here and we are connected at all, we are to be in service to ourselves and to others. So just remember that. Oh, one last thing I'll mention about journaling, because we've been together for about half an hour now. And I know time is precious. If you can't like kind of leave it free flowing for some reason, you only have a small amount of time, I also set timers. So I'll say I can write for 7 minutes. I've got 7 minutes before I really need to get going. And I have Alexa, and I'll tell Alexa I need to set a timer. She sets the timer for me. Off I go. She beeps when I'm ready, and I've journaled. And I just stop wherever I am because that's all I needed for that day. So don't be afraid to do like time journaling too, if that helps you. Even 3 minutes, that's fine. Remember, it's a meditative practice, and it's better to get some in than nothing. So feel free to do that also if you want to just give yourself that time. If you like electronically with a password, there's a website out there called 750words.com, 750words.com. There's other ones out there, but I find that the 750words.com is easy. It's $5 a month. If you do a paid thing with them, um, and it's password protected, so you're the only one that can get in there if you need to do that. So if you have questions, you can find me on my website at marydalba.com. It's MARYDALBA.com. If you see my name in print, just forget about the apostrophe. It's just Mary Dalba, all one word, .com. If you want to reach me, I try to make it easy. Mary at marydalba.com. You can find me on Facebook. Please feel free to friend me. I also have a business page, Mary Dalba. You can jump on there and like my page. But really, I'm just so happy you were here with me today. Feel free. Let me know if you get a really cool notebook or you just want to use a regular notebook, that's fine. If you get a unicorn notebook, I want to know. This I want to know. Or ones with dogs on them, or but if you just get a plain blue one, that's fine too. I love it anyway, but if you get some fun ones, I'd love to see them. And just anything that you felt from your journaling. And remember, if you miss a couple of days, if it's too crazy and hectic, do not be hard on yourself. This is not an exercise to make you feel bad. So cut yourself some slack. Find out what works for you. If nighttime's better, then do it at night. It doesn't matter. This is your practice. This is for you. And please feel free to ask me questions. I'm happy to help. Thank you for letting me take over today in the SRTT Self-Care Journey group. Thank you all, and I hope to do this again and see you again soon. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.